Hello, my name is John Muraru, and I am here to instruct you on how to build a functioning PC safely and properly. Before we start putting the major components in the case, we must install the front side input and output system. It is smaller and it is easier to fit in before the bigger components are installed. After installing the front side I/O, we'll place the motherboard in the case. We'll do this very carefully, as if anything on the board gets chipped or damaged, then the PC will not work at all. We'll also screw in the 4 main screws that go in each corner of the board. Next, we will install the main fan and speaker into the case. You must make sure that the speaker and fan is facing towards the front side vent, or else you cannot install the CPU heatsink properly. The RAM would be the next thing to install. First, insert the RAM into the RAM slots by lifting the 2 tabs on each side of the slots. When the tabs click down, that's when you know your RAM is properly installed. Always make sure that RAM chips will not overlap when you're holding it in your hands, as they hold a small electric charge. After that, we must install the CPU heatsink mount. This will need to be screwed on, as it supports a decently heavy part of the PC. The mount will have 2 hooks on it. These hooks need to be attached to the heatsink. Once the hooks are attached, carefully rest the heatsink on top of the CPU. After the heatsink is rested on top of the CPU, you must screw the heatsink into the case. The next component that will need to be installed is the power supply. We need to slide this in between the motherboard and one of the sides of the case. Make sure that the part with the AC power socket is facing outwards. The hard drive is the next thing we must add to our PC. It has 2 blue tabs on either side that need to be pushed inwards and then fit into 2 placeholders on the heatsink mount while holding those tabs. Let go of them once the hard drive is fitted. Next, we must install the CD burner and player. There is a blue lever on the side of the case that must be lifted for the device to fit into its designated slot properly. Be careful to not clip any wires while placing it in. This is probably going to be our easiest step, but we have to plug in all our wires from all the components into the motherboard. After we do this, we must power up our PC to make sure that it works before closing it up, just in case we need to fix anything. Finally, we will put on the lid of our PC and screw it in so no parts can fall out of our case. Throughout this instructional video, I've told you about a couple tips to safely build your PC, but now I'll tell you about some stuff to do when using it. Never store your PC in a closed space or on a carpet. Always make sure you are grounded and your PC is unplugged when you are working on it. Never force components into slots. If it doesn't fit, it probably is not meant to go there. Check all the wiring before booting up your PC for the first time. Always make sure to keep all your screws when working on your PC. That will conclude all you should know about assembling your PC and keeping it functioning while using it. I hope you retain all info I have shared with you today, and I hope you will use it when building your PC.